Today is April 29th, 2026. Today again, today. Always. They include other religious groups in them. And they don't realize by including yourself in crimes, you show how less of God you have in you. I seen these religious stickers in the back of people's cars, realizing they're manipulating these religious people. And they don't have enough God in them not to participate. What does the Bible say? To love your enemy, to pray for those despitefully use you, right? It says to pray. Avenge not yourself. I will repay double. So what are these people out doing, stalking and harass me and think they got God on them when they just threw God out the window and they're acting like Satan himself? So today in the car, because I know my car's bugged and I know these people sold a login, I start going over how Ron blasphemed God years ago, okay? How he blasphemed God. That, that, where his father-in-law, Phil, killed their son. Him and a bunch of other people were running late to a church baseball game. He was one of the lead cars. Brian said, now we're all at home, me and my children, my ex-husband, had to show up and tell us. He was one of the lead cars. It's going so fast. They couldn't believe he didn't even try to stop, blew right through a stop sign, into a semi. Brian said it was like a bomb going off. Bomb. That Phil was ripped into pieces and Tyler got ejected through the air and slammed on the pavement. They were both instantly dead. See, people wondered if Strange didn't do something because Phil was standing up to him. That, because why wouldn't you stop? Why would you be speeding that fast with your grandson in the car? Exactly. And now knowing he been drugging people for a while, being on call leader. Or tell them if they did something, they would never check for hypnotic drugs. They would have checked for alcohol and the real illegal ones. But they would have never checked for hypnotic, especially back then. See what I mean? Because he was acting irrationally. But no one will ever know. But regardless of his actions, he killed their son. We weren't even there. 6 months later, Strange calls me. I figure it has nothing to do with Phil killing their kid. They used to say around the church that that family have to learn to live with the shame of her father killing her son. Because of his actions, he's dead. And people would say stuff like that. And it's the truth. That'd be a hard one to swallow. That your own parent killed your child. Okay? That's where 8 years later, I was at Blaylock's. Ron got a microphone, was up on the pulpit. And he starts prancing around, yelling out, I hate God for taking the thing I love the most. I hate him. He said, not demeaning my other children, but I hate God. Was it God taking? It wasn't like a lightning bolt coming from heaven. It wasn't like the world opened up and swallowed him alive. Phil murdered his son. Not God. God didn't take him. Phil did. If he wanted to go out and beat Phil's headstone into the ground and scream, I hate you, bastard, for killing my baby, I'd understand that. But taking it out on God or anybody else, Misdirected anger. You know, people said yesterday that guy really does hate God. He tells people he hates him. A blasphemer. Reprobate man that is controlled by Satan himself. Carl and I were talking about in the car. Do you know what happened to those religious people? They scattered. When you find out you're helping somebody who's demon possessed and hates the God of creation, blaming him for his child's death. See, yesterday they said that he said he won't tolerate anybody ever saying something miraculous happened to him or a miracle, that he'll take care of them. Well, my opinion is, people, has anybody ever prayed for something and it just seemed like it never came through? And you kept praying and praying, and one day it was just there. And you were so grateful to God that it was made right. How many people felt like you were swallowing dirt and you were drowning in your problem? Then one day it was just fixed. Me. A million times. Me. How many times when you beat the odds of something when you were sick and something miraculous, it just changed around and you got well? Me. Had to fight for him. Faith without works is dead. Had to fight for him. How many times did you pray because you didn't have enough money to pay for something, and some came up and you got to earn the extra money? You got to pay for it. Me. See, I don't have a problem with God. I have lived a very rough life, but I have a grateful heart and a humble one. I prayed a long time ago that God would protect my heart, that I would not become evil like the people that were harming me. And I pray that God would protect my heart. And I ask God to forgive the ones that hurt me. I would pray for them. And I would honestly cry and weep before God. Yesterday, a very sweet woman told me, you need to pray again. Ask God for that money. Ask God to deliver you from being stalked and harassed. And then everything's made right. You know He can still do it. You just have to ask again. I did last night. I heard an investigator in the distance. I listened to Karen pray last night. That's what the investigators used to say. I listened to Karen pray. You know, my son John, when the case first started, I went out. It was either right before or right afterwards. There was lights. I lived outside Ravenna, and about 10 miles out of town, in the middle of countryside, in the middle of the woods. We didn't even have street lights. It was so dark out there. There was lights flashing above the house. It wasn't fireworks or anything like that. Went out and I'm looking at them. They're flashing. I called John. I said, "There's lights flashing. They're different places and they're flashing. And there's no reason for them to flash out here." He said, "Mom, they're angels." I said, "Angels?" He said, "They're fighting over your soul." I said, "John, I don't mean enough to anyone." He said, "Mom, you don't realize it's angels and they are fighting over your soul." I would tell that story when I was alone, and the investigators would show up. "We are Karen's angels." And it is a beautiful description, an absolute beautiful description of what has happened here. Good and evil fighting back and forth. You know, these people yesterday, where they heard the investigators down in Williamsburg, there was people in that gas station said somebody stole over $5 million from a fund. They better be at putting it back. Other people were outside at the gas pumps. Those church people think we're dumb. How dumb do they think we are? Nobody gets special permission to be in your home. We all know nobody can be in your home but protected custody cases and places in agencies, and we all know everything can be photoshopped. And they were drugging her, we all know you're sleepwalking. And we know no doctor could ever be with them. It's HIPAA. And that girl saying that she was rude to her, threatened her, and then she was getting even with her because she didn't talk to her. She hadn't even been part of their church in 23 years, and it was 15 when the case started. She had nothing to do with that girl. They were all lying. Nobody at fault for that. That's what the investigator said. Nobody at fault for that. Nobody fell for any of it. But those guys were talking about that too. Some girls off in the distance today in Myers. You stole $5 million? Yeah. Now, how would they get my money? The only way they get my money? I've never been sued. I've never been prosecuted. I've never been found guilty. So, what is the law? 14th Amendment. No money, no assets seized but due process of law. Nothing's been processed. And you cannot withhold any protection from any jurisdiction. Any U.S. citizen in any jurisdiction. It's illegal. So where that girl's like, yeah, we took her money. No one's allowed to help her. Well, who are you, princess? Liar. Because the only way they could get it is identity theft. Make a fake Karen Hall. Fake Karen Harkless. That's all you could do. Fake identities. See, I was a victim of identity theft before. The investigators got it out of Dave that it was a girlfriend from before me, made him marry me so he could get a job at my dad's factory. And she could have free insurance of the woman that was running up medical bills in my name, and that half my medical bills are hers. Wasn't a random person. It was Dave's girlfriend. Another one. I've already been a victim of identity fraud. And for 15 years, she went Harry-Carry. Back then, you didn't have to show ID. You could go in, tell them, give them your name, information. They just seen you. You forgot your insurance card. Call it in later. Do you realize they only started making you get a social security card when you were born? When? 90s? I never even got a social security number until I was 15. I wanted to get my my dad bought us a moped, and you had to get your temps. And I never even had my social security number till I was 15. It wasn't required. I want you to think about that one. You weren't even required to get one until you were 18. Or you got your license. I didn't get one till I was 15. You never showed ID. Going to a hospital or doctor, they just billed you later. Well, that's where that's how people, it used to be on the news, identity fraud, so-and-so died using somebody else's insurance. They went to do a blood transfusion. It wasn't the right person and they died. Be all over the news. Identity fraud here, identity fraud there. Because you didn't have to prove ID. Nowadays, people just make fake IDs. But do you realize if they got my money, the only way they would have got it is identity fraud. Because you can't just steal from somebody, can't get it turned over to you. The person's never been prosecuted for anything, never found guilty, never sued for it. So the only way you could get it is identity fraud. Had to do a fake ID. It's fraud. See where that girl said, oh yeah, we stole $5 million? I think you're a liar. I think you're a flat out liar. And if you did, you're using Karen Hall ID. You didn't do it by stealing, you did it just by identity fraud. And then scammed all these people. And they got your confession today. Stupid. So the investigators around me heard that girl, right? People came in, Bob Evans, and people listened to it today. Nobody found that. They said none of this is funny. No, it's not. No, it's not. See, when the case first started, they said that a retired Judge P, friends with Ludick, was letting him get away with crimes. He was one in my house. And when they asked Ludick, he didn't know who he was. Okay? Then they said he's actually an investigator. Oh. Then they said he was an attorney. Officer Mark said he was drug cartel. North Canton Jackson police said they were drug cartel. That's why it's being raped. See, that's where people have said stuff. And even the investigator, she never met the man that actually did it to her. How do you do it? I don't know. Everything's already documented, verified. Everything was Photoshopped. That was 23. Yeah. They're telling people not to say a word to me. See, even Dave's divorce attorney, I never even met him till the courthouse at the divorce hearings. Never. Never even seen him, never met him. I've never met these people. See, that's where people, what was it, March 17th, 26, in Myers, I walk out the ladies' restroom. There's a lady on the phone. You tell everyone not to say a word to her. The guy that was claiming he was a doctor from before, verified, he never met her in person. Then that would have been Henry Moffey. January 1926, I was glad he never met me in person. See, that's where they've already confessed. This whole thing, see, that's where investigators said they were mad, where they were sitting around laughing. These people, that how they fooled everyone with their scam. They got away with it. And they didn't realize, well, they thought they were sitting around talking to drug dealers. And here are the undercover federal agents. They're confessing, laughing in their face. How they fooled everyone. Guess what happened then? March 27th, 25. FBI agents outside my work after midnight. I got it out of the pretty Michelle. There's several Michelles involved. That the doctor from before was not one of hers, works for them, and they had lied. And she actually don't know who he is. And when they bashed in her head, they tried to kill her, leave her incompetent. And it didn't work. And as soon as she told me, I broke up with her. Got it out of her ex-husband. That girlfriend from before her made him marry her so he could get a job at her dad's factory, and she'd have free insurance. He could give her extra money. And I got it out of that family. That was telling everybody I offended them. Why on earth would you say that? They said that it didn't even concern them. They made everything up when they went in that office. That to help people help them get away with this. They were all in there just to steal from the government. Every one of them. Told you Strange hated the government. Nobody ever listens. He did. They were all just in there to steal. Defraud him out a bunch of money. Well, he said, they said that it didn't even concern him. They made everything up when they went in that office. They're all lying to get away with it. Okay? So, guess what happened? March 20th, 26th, Walmart West Husk, by the uh, electronics. An investigator from years ago. I haven't found this one bit funny since that federal agent showed up and told me that that family said that they were all lying in there, that it never offended them, and everybody made everything up when they went in that office. And I don't believe one bit she ever threatened Katie, because you listen to Karen. Katie always dated Tim. So it'd been ridiculous for the thought she ever dated Dave. She would never threaten her. No, I didn't. And then what happened after that? Katie told everybody that I never threatened her. She made it all up. She was mad because I wouldn't give her the time of day to talk to her. And when people found out that it was 23 years ago and it was 15 when the case started, that I was avoiding her because she was dating Tim and making my sister cry. My sister wouldn't stand up for herself, so I avoided uncomfortable situation of being nice to someone so that my sister knew she was cheating with her husband but wouldn't say nothing. Not put my sister in a position she couldn't handle. So I didn't have to be fake nice, so I avoided her. Huh? So she thinks she's the God of glory and the great I am, that everybody should kiss her ass. Huh? Because I didn't give her the time of day, she just made up a bunch of lies on me. Think how sick that is. Now think religious groups, you're helping this out. A man that blasphemes God, reprobate, hates God. So anybody that's had any kind of miraculous thing, miracle, prayer answered, that you couldn't handle and you needed God to step in. It took a long time, but it came through. Why don't you go testify that bastard? Look at his face and shove it in his face. Our God is still real. He did this for me. He helped me with this. He did this. He did that. And shove it in that bastard's face. For he is not God. He may be Satan possessed. And he may be pure evil and demon possessed. That he's going to silence anybody that ever gives God glory for anything. Everybody testify to him. Look at him and say, I don't care what you say. God is still real. Shove it in his face. When you realize, do Christians hire drug dealers to harm somebody? You're not Christians, you hire drug dealers to harm somebody. Hiring a hitman's a federal crime of 20 years. It's a federal crime. It's a premeditated murder. Think about this. You're getting somebody harmed. You're hiring a hitman. That makes you not a Christian. And then you're going to say it on a pathetic excuse. We were offended 23 years ago. It was 15 at the time when we hired those people to kill her. It offended us. And then they're sitting there laughing at you because you're so stupid you fall for that. Those church people have been playing people for fools. And they were laughing how they played that. The FBI for fools. Huh? For fools. People yesterday, nobody found any of this funny when they found out I had degenerative joint disease. Well, like that agent said, when the case first started, he went and talked to that orthopedic surgeon. And he told him that the simplest and the easiest way to fix what was wrong with my legs is put braces on them, hold them in place. While I learned to walk again. And give me canes to staple myself. Well, see, that's where it says it with degenerative joint disease. It is a treatment for it. And it's right on Google. It is a treatment for it. That you put braces on and retighten up the muscles and the tendons around your knees so that you can learn to walk again. It is, how they said, it is achievable, but very difficult. And if there is swelling, it will make it in the legs or around the knees, it will make it impossible to walk. Because the knees will slide out of place. And you have to maintain with exercise, keeping the muscles and tendons tighten around the knees. It is a common practice of keeping, besides knee replacement, where I had so much degenerative joint disease, the doctor was afraid that if he did a knee replacement, the arthritis would go into my regular bones and that it wouldn't hold it. So he told me the safest and the easiest thing to do was keep my legs in place till I rebuild up my muscles in my legs. And so I could learn to walk again. See, that's where people showed up yesterday. Some idiot yesterday said, we know she uploaded the research from online. We know what that surgeon said, but we don't believe it because you're a retard. Retard. You know, it's also on Google. You don't light a match around gasoline or throw it in, it will explode. Why? Because it'll explode. Just like, you know, it's just like where, okay. It is illegal for an FBI agent to tell on you for calling for help. It is obstruction to justice, tampering with evidence in a witness. Okay. It is illegal for them to bully you into false statements. It is considered badgering and the same thing. It is illegal for them to tell you. Now, First Amendment in the Constitution, freedom of speech. Only a judge in a jury trial can put a gag order on you. Police and agents are only police officers. They are not demeaning them, but they are only police officers. It's where you work. Local sheriffs do county, locals do local areas, state do state highways. Then we go into federal police officers that can work anywhere in the United States. That's Federal Bureau of Investigators, FBI, Secret Service, and Marshals. It is where you can work. I want you to think about it. They're all police. And it's where you can work. Okay? And that's it. Now, can a police officer tell you if you say something, the police will never help you? No, they could lose their badge. It is considered not only blackmail, it's tampering with witness, it is obstruction justice, tampering with evidence. It's a 20 to life sentence for saying if you say something, the FBI won't help you. No one will help you. You cannot withhold protection. It could go into attempted murder. It is a constitutional right. Okay? So, nor can they tell you if you say something, you won't get your money for working the case. That is considered blackmail, obstruction, tampering, aiding and abetting crimes. And it is a theft out of the government funds. It is meant only for the informant, for getting them information where they're in immunity and they get money for life. They can never touch it. They cannot withhold it. They cannot misdirect it. Like I said, the only way they would have ever got my money is identity theft. Because no judge could sign it over. I'm in immunity for life. I've never been tried. I've never been found guilty. The whole thing is just a scam. And that agent act like he's going along with any of this. And that he is actually stealing from the government. And actually passing it out from people. Someone, if it is happening and it isn't an act, they need to arrest him. He is very dangerous. People have died over this. And he is stealing from the government. He is a threat to the U.S. government then. And he can't just pass out government funds. He's not God, judge, and jury to hear I'll just give out anything I want from anybody's case. He cannot have a free-for-all on the U.S. government. I'm going to have to get off here, but Agent John, you still owe me my money. Officer Mark, Officer John, I need your help. I am being stalked. I am being harassed. Even Carl's noticing people around us. And they're following us everywhere. I like my money. I like a new name, new social for me and Carl. We need medical cards. We need moved. And I like my money. And a letter of thank you from the FBI be nice. I lived through hell. We all know I did. Most people win awards. And I need your help with this. If you wouldn't mind helping me, guys, I'd really appreciate it. Or one of the officers or agents assigned to my case. I really need your help. Do you know how that's where even a local police officer can arrest an FBI agent? It doesn't take another FBI agent. A local police officer, if they commit a crime, they're displaced. That's how, that's where I'm saying I'm not demeaning them. But they're no higher than your local police officers. That's how less authority they have. Get the idea. I'm going to upload this.